The Colosseum of Rome, one of the greatest achievements of the ancient civilization, remains one of the wonders of the world. But how was it possible to build such an impressive amphitheater in the heart of an empire that dominated an entire continent? What secrets lie behind its construction and operation? Inaugurated in 80 AD by Emperor Titus, the Colosseum was more than just an entertainment space. It was a symbol of power, a means to consolidate the emperor's authority, and a space to showcase the grandeur of Rome. Gladiator fights, naval battles, wild animal combats, all of this took place in the Colosseum's arena, but behind each spectacle, there was impressive engineering and a fascinating history. If you're ready to discover how the Romans created one of the most iconic structures in history, stay with us. Let's dive into the mystery of the Colosseum. The Colosseum, one of the most grandiose structures in Rome, was inaugurated in 80 AD by Emperor Titus, after a decade of construction. Its original purpose was clear: to offer a place for mass entertainment for the crowds of the city, a space where Romans could forget their daily problems and enjoy spectacular shows that reflected the power of the empire. The first shows were organized by Titus to celebrate the inauguration of the Colosseum and consisted of 100 consecutive days of games, including gladiator fights, battles between exotic animals, and even miniature naval battles, where the arena was flooded with water to recreate combat at sea. All of this not only aimed to entertain but also had a political purpose: to reinforce the emperor's control over the population through distraction and spectacle. But the Colosseum wasn't just a space for fun. It also represented the power and grandeur of the Roman Empire, an empire that, at its peak, controlled vast territories around the known world. In this sense, the Colosseum was more than an amphitheater, it was a propaganda tool, a constant reminder of Rome's glory. The Colosseum was not only a center of entertainment but also a powerful propaganda tool for the Roman emperors. Inaugurated by Titus, the son of Emperor Vespasian, this monument was built on the very site where Nero's Golden Palace once stood, a symbol of the decadence of his regime. By choosing this location, Vespasian sent a clear message: the Roman people should have access to a public entertainment space, instead of a private luxury reserved only for the elite. Thus, the Colosseum became an emblem of a new beginning for Rome, more oriented towards the masses and public welfare than towards the opulence of a single emperor. The emperors used the Colosseum to consolidate their power by offering free spectacles that not only kept the population entertained but also reinforced their loyalty to the empire. By providing these massive events, the emperors sought to gain the favor of the people, demonstrating their generosity and control over the city. Through these practices, the Colosseum became a symbol of the power and glory of Rome, representing not only its architectural greatness but also its absolute dominance over its citizens and territories. In essence, the Colosseum was a propaganda machine designed to maintain the social and political stability of the empire, constantly reminding the people of Rome's strength and the benevolence of its rulers. The Colosseum is a marvel of engineering, built with mathematical precision that would astonish even modern architects. From its design to its execution, every aspect of the Colosseum was intended to offer not only functionality but also beauty and durability. The Colosseum has a length of approximately 188 meters, a width of 156 meters, and a height of 48 meters. Its structure was designed with an ideal proportion of 5:3, meaning that the ratio between the length and height of the building follows a mathematical formula that makes it visually harmonious. The arena of the Colosseum, measuring about 280 by 168 Roman feet, was built with precise symmetry that extended throughout the entire amphitheater. Every arch, every door, every column was placed with remarkable accuracy. In total, the Colosseum had 80 entrance arches, evenly distributed to allow quick and efficient access for tens of thousands of spectators. Each of these arches had an exact size and was separated by 3 Roman feet, contributing to the stability and elegance of the structure. The importance of precise measurements was not only in its aesthetics but also in its functionality. The Colosseum was designed to safely accommodate up to 50,000 spectators, with entrances and exits that facilitated the massive circulation of people. The use of Roman concrete was key in the construction of the Colosseum. This innovative material allowed the Romans to create a solid, durable structure capable of bearing the massive weight of the building while maintaining an airy and spacious design. One of the most fascinating features of the Colosseum is how its space was distributed, not only in terms of architectural design but also according to the social classes of the Romans. This gigantic amphitheater was designed to hold about 50,000 people, and each spectator had an assigned seat, not only for comfort but also for social status. The front rows, closest to the arena, were reserved for the Roman elite, senators, aristocrats, and influential figures in society. These seats were the most comfortable and luxuriously decorated, reflecting the power and prestige of those who sat there. A little higher, in the middle seats, were the knights and the middle class, while the highest tiers, furthest from the arena, were reserved for plebeians, slaves, and women, who, according to the social norms of the time, could not actively participate in the events. What's interesting is that the Colosseum was designed to maintain a clear separation between these social classes, allowing not only for better organization of space but also a visual distinction between the groups. This was reflected in the marble and iron staircases that separated the different sectors and ensured that each class remained in its place. Although historians are not entirely sure how this separation was implemented in full, the structure of the arena and the seating clearly showed a distinction. The Colosseum was not only a place for entertainment but also a reflection of Roman social hierarchy, where each spectator occupied their seat according to their status, making the event both a collective and deeply segmented experience. Beneath the Colosseum lies a part of the structure that is not as visible to tourists but plays a crucial role in the amphitheater's function, the hypogeum. The term hypogeum comes from the Greek word meaning underground, and it describes a network of tunnels, hallways, and cages that extended beneath the arena of the Colosseum in an intricate labyrinth designed to house gladiators, wild animals, and all the logistical mechanisms necessary for the spectacles. This underground space, which was not accessible to the public, was one of the greatest innovations in Roman engineering. Here, war prisoners and exotic animals were kept in isolation before being released into the arena. Gladiators also waited in the hypogeum, ready to fight at the precise moment. But it wasn't just cages and dark rooms. The hypogeum was filled with mechanisms, such as ramps and winches, operated by slaves to elevate animals and stage decorations. One of the greatest marvels of the hypogeum is how the Romans integrated technology to surprise the audience. With the help of mechanisms like rotating winches and pulleys, the Romans could suddenly make lions, bears, or tigers appear directly from the underground, creating an atmosphere of suspense and excitement among the spectators. These mechanisms were also used to raise props representing historical or mythical battles, adding an additional level of complexity to the spectacle. The details of the hypogeum remained largely unknown for centuries, but thanks to the work of archaeologists like Hans-Jürgen Best, we now know how the markings and notches on the walls were used to guide workers in transporting animals and scenes through the narrow corridors. The precision with which this underground space was designed reflects the level of organization and sophistication the Romans employed to maintain absolute control over the events in the arena. The construction of the Colosseum was a monumental undertaking, both in scale and logistics. Historical estimates suggest that between 20,000 and 30,000 workers participated in the construction of the amphitheater, with a large portion of them being slaves. To build such a structure, the Romans not only used their ingenuity and skill but also an incredibly efficient organization that allowed them to overcome the challenges of constructing a building of these dimensions in such a short time. The Colosseum was built on marshy ground, which presented a considerable challenge. To ensure the structure was stable, Roman engineers designed foundations of concrete that reached up to 12 meters deep. This foundation work, done with precision, allowed the Colosseum to rise on a terrain that would otherwise have been unstable. One of the most impressive aspects of the construction was the transportation of materials. The travertine stones, a type of limestone used in much of the structure, were quarried from sites near Rome, about 30 kilometers away. To move these stones, a network of special roads was built, and ox-drawn carts were used. In total, about 240,000 carts filled with stones were transported, a gigantic logistical effort. The material used, Roman concrete, was key in the construction. This material, composed of lime, sand, water, and pozzolana, a volcanic stone, allowed the Romans to build a structure that was both robust and relatively lightweight. The use of this revolutionary material enabled them to create a massive structure with vaults and arches that not only supported the weight of the building but also created an airy environment, something essential for the comfort of the spectators. The design of the Colosseum is not only notable for its impressive size but also for its functionality, designed for the enjoyment and safety of the thousands of spectators who visit it. The structure was conceived to allow maximum efficiency both in access and evacuation of the public, reflecting the advanced urban and architectural planning of the Romans. One of the most notable features of the Colosseum is its ability to hold up to 50,000 people in its stands. The amphitheater was designed with a system of organized entrances and exits, allowing spectators to enter and exit quickly, avoiding chaos. Each of the 80 entrance arches was perfectly aligned, enabling the public to disperse in an orderly fashion before and after the shows. Inside, the Colosseum was divided into several levels, with a hierarchical organization based on the social class of the spectators. The seats closest to the arena were reserved for the Roman elite, while the higher stands were for the lower classes. This design reflected the social structure of Rome, where access to the shows depended on social status. However, all Romans, regardless of their class, could enjoy the games, strengthening social unity through public entertainment. The Colosseum was not only designed for the comfort of the public but also for the spectacular nature of the events. The central arena, where the fights and other spectacles took place, was surrounded by a system of channels and drains that helped control rainwater. Additionally, at the top of the Colosseum, the Romans implemented an ingenious system of awnings, known as vela, which protected spectators from the sun. Roman Navy members were responsible for handling these awnings, a job that involved raising enormous canvases to cover the arena during hot days, adding an extra layer of comfort and protection for the thousands of attendees. Over time, the Colosseum, like many great works of antiquity, suffered the effects of the decline of the Roman Empire, natural disasters, and looting. During the Middle Ages, the Colosseum fell out of use as an entertainment center and was largely abandoned. However, its historical and cultural value was never overlooked, and although the structure was looted for its stones, the Colosseum remained a silent testament to Roman greatness. One of the most determining factors in the deterioration of the Colosseum was earthquakes. Over the centuries, several earthquakes struck Rome, severely damaging the structure. The most affected parts were the upper part of the Colosseum and the stands, which largely collapsed due to the lack of maintenance. However, what is most notable is that, despite this damage, the Colosseum did not collapse entirely. Its solid base and ingenious Roman engineering allowed the main structure to remain standing, despite the years and catastrophes. During the medieval and Renaissance periods, the Colosseum was used as a quarry. The travertine stones that once formed the magnificence of the amphitheater were extracted and reused for other projects, such as the construction of churches, palaces, and fortifications in Rome. During this period, the Colosseum was largely stripped of its original splendor. It wasn't until the 18th century that the historical and cultural importance of the Colosseum began to be recognized, and efforts to preserve it began. In the 19th century, Pope Benedict XIV declared it a sacred monument and started restoring it. Throughout the 20th century and into the present day, the Colosseum has undergone several restoration projects in order to maintain its structure and preserve it as a symbol of ancient Rome. Today, the Colosseum remains one of the most visited wonders of the world, and although it suffers the effects of time and pollution, it remains an emblem of Roman engineering and the resilience of a civilization that created something so colossal that, centuries later, it still takes our breath away. The Colosseum is not just a monumental construction, it is a living symbol of Rome's power, engineering, and culture. For centuries, it has withstood the passage of time, natural tragedies, and looting, remaining standing as a testimony to the greatness of an empire that conquered the known world. From gladiator battles to naval battle reenactments, the Colosseum was much more than an amphitheater. It was a reflection of Rome's power, its ability to amaze and captivate the masses. But the Colosseum is not only about the past. Today, it remains a source of admiration and a powerful connection to history, a place where millions of visitors from all over the world come to pay homage to one of the greatest wonders humanity has ever created. If you ever get the chance to walk through its halls, stop in front of its arches, or look out onto its arena, remember that you are standing before a legacy that has transcended time, inviting us to imagine what it was, what it represented, and what it still is. If this story of the Colosseum surprised you, leave us a comment and don't forget to subscribe to continue exploring more wonders of ancient Rome. What other monument or aspect of Rome would you like to discover in depth? Share it with us.